Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor, the Monitor. It's actually the way like we perceive our universe, right? We know so little about it, even though we get comfortable knowing, oh, the solar system works like this, and here's the moon, and here's these planets, and whatever. It's so infinitely expansive beyond that, that any crazy thing could be out there. And we want the DCU to feel that way to you guys, that all of a sudden you realize, there's a dark multiverse. There might be space titans that come from far away, suddenly that look like crazy Kirby things. There might be a whole nother realm of the multiverse that you don't know. All that stuff is coming after. Metal is the first step towards that, the expansion of the DCU. And Jeff's book, The Terrifics, for me, was in the spirit of that, where he pitched it and he was like, I want to explore the unknown. That and Challengers are sort of twin books in a lot of ways. So I really, really love what he's doing. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
And if you see on the bottom, just one of the first worlds to see on the art that was there, we're bringing into the Tom Strong universe, into the Terrific. So you're going to start to see, and so it's not emerging, it's the Terrifics heading out to Tom Strong's world for the things that are happening. And who we don't know if they're anywhere else, we might be seeing ABC characters at any point. But it's a lot of fun to see, and it's great to be having these wonderful characters helping enrich our world, and for you guys a chance to see them again. So, good stuff. Next one up. I think this is new. This might be the first time people are seeing this. Again, so what we're doing right now is that we're doing a bunch of new series here, and we want to really start to really expand the breadth of the line. You heard a book that's really science fiction oriented, some youthful books, some monster books, a lot of crazy stuff going on, but this is our horror book. It's called The Curse of Brimstone, and I'm turning this over to Justin to explain.
Yeah, so basically it's the opposite of Sideways. No, what it is, it's about a kid. He's about 20 years old. He lives in one of these forgotten rural towns that have been kind of left aside from modernization. It's a factory town. It was a coal town, it became a factory town, and now it's a nothing town. He's maybe 20 years old, and he's watched the town die in his lifetime, which is a thing that happens. In the DCU or any universe, stories are largely set in Gotham and Metropolis and Coast City and that kind of stuff. What about the rest of the country? What about the people that are normally on the sidelines? Like, what's happening when those places are ignored, which is kind of what's happened in real America. So he sees his place, and he meets a man, the salesman, who makes him an offer. I will give you the power to make your town great again and to make it special. And all you have to do is be my agent. And he takes it, and as it turns out, as the title might indicate, it's more of a curse than anything else. He gains the ability to turn into this character, Brimstone, who has these kind of heat and smoke-based powers, and it turns out that anytime he uses Brimstone, it's often worse than what he's trying to fight. It's that question of, when you're doing something like that and you've got this power, it's like, the analogy I think I used to Dan once was, you can fight forest fires by burning down part of the forest, and that's kind of what Brimstone does, but if you live in the part of the forest that's getting burnt down, he's not a great person to go around. So it's kind of looking at that idea of when you make a bargain for power out of desperation, then you have to live with that for the rest of your life, and it gives us a chance to shine. Put the light on the horror side of the DC universe, which we don't see a lot in the DCU proper. I think people... Obviously, Swamp Thing and stuff is in there now, but we forget that Constantine originated, and Swamp Thing originated as DCU proper characters, as was Sandman, for that matter. That's all thoroughly in the DCU. So we're taking a look at that horror aspect, and we're taking a look at the forgotten places in the DCU. And we're doing it with really, really amazing art by Philip Tan. He keeps sending us these awesome designs of sketches. He's like, here's a horrible thing I designed. I'm like, that's a story now, Philip. Yeah.
We actually wanted to take all the designs and just make a story out of it. That's how much we've been loving the art he's been sending.
Literally every time he's done that, I've built a story around it. I'm like, yep, that is awesome. He sent this one character that was like a mouth that went the whole way around their head, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's going in the book, Philip. So.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Okay, next one up. In case you were wondering, there's 8 of these books. Hopefully, I think, are these things looking, how does this feel for you? I'm kind of intrigued right now, guys. This is all new stuff. And everybody gets caught up in this. And we get caught up in it because we see it all the time. But this is really, it's so close to us, it's so personal to us that, we care so much about it, but we're always wondering how people are feeling about new material. New material is so tough to bring out. That's why we are relying on the talent and the ties to the DC universe to pull you guys in. But I promise you, once you're there, you're not going to want to let go. Oops, we saw the Wild Hunt already. Can we go? Do we have the... What?
No, they haven't shown it yet.
Oh, that's new. That's new, Dan.
Oh, that's new. Scott, how new is this?
Oh, it's super new. I was like, what? No, it's what we decided to do. Honestly, Metal 6 is so big and crazy with everything from Joker, dragons. You wait till you see it. It's like I showed him. There's like 7 crazy beats that we were like, you know what? Metal. I only had 6 issues to do. We got all these great crossovers where we put a lot of the story that I would have done if we had 12 issues or 13 issues, but that would have murdered Greg. What we realized is we had more story than we could use. And so Dan and them said, well, why don't you do 1 issue in between 5 and 6 that would take these characters that don't get as much screen time, that are super important, and, you know, Detective Chimp, Flash, Cyborg, they're really important. Anyway, and do a chase across the multiverse where the Dark Knights are chasing them through all the worlds that Grant created. It has the Gentry, it has all this stuff, and I've been talking to Grant about the Dark Multiverse, all that kind of stuff too. I saw him at San Diego and saw him here, and we talked back then a lot about it. So it's really, it's one of my favorite things that I've ever worked on, honestly. It's got like my, Detective Chimp is this passion character for me, and it's bookended by buying Detective Chimp's story. I love working with these guys on it. It's going to be, honestly, I think it's going to be one of those issues you read and you're like, this is a special thing. So I'm really, really proud of it.
And Greg, you feel good about this too, right?
What?
Bill, this book, it gives you a little more time to get for the big finale.
Where? No, yes, absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, you know, what happened was, you know, as you know, I got sick in 2016 while I was doing Reborn, and it pushed me behind schedule because I was supposed to be on Metal a lot sooner than I was. And so before I knew it, because it's so packed, Metal is so packed, I found that I was getting more and more with my back against the wall. And if you've seen Metal, I'm not skimping not one little bit on the art. I'm giving you as much glory as I can. But every issue that comes from Metal comes with a big giant folder full of reference because we're including so much. So it's very time consuming on that level. So I'm just happy that these guys, you know, don't want to kill me. You know, that's the first thing because my wife loves me and all that stuff. So yeah, these extra issues help me to give you all of my firepower that I can. And you deserve all the firepower. The story itself deserves all the firepower. And so 6 is going to be an oversized issue. So these little breaks are going to slot in nicely, and it's going to, as these wonderful men said they don't want to kill me, it's going to allow me to give you the best artwork that I possibly can and bring the story to the best possible level that it can rise to. So thanks, everybody, for not killing me. I don't want to die. Do you guys want me dead? No, nobody wants me dead. Well, that I know of. So, thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, the most important thing too is that, listen, Metal is Scott and Greg, and we couldn't see anybody else doing this, finishing this. So this book is their book from beginning to end, because I think that's better for everyone. It makes the book special when you have that team all the way through, telling the story all the way through for you. So, great job, man. You know what? But I got Steve Orlando here. He's been very quiet. Seems really nice. Everybody, can we have applause for Steve Orlando again one more time? He's so patient. Now, Steve, we went through the new books, the new Age of DC Hero books, and the way it comes out is this: you'll see Immortal Man and Damage in December. You'll see Sideways and Silencer in January. You'll see Brimstone and Terrifics in February, and we have 2 books in March. And we are in early stages of these books, but we wanted to preview it as well. Do we have the artwork up for this one? No, we don't have the artwork. They just waved me off. Okay, so we have 2 other books here. Steve, will you want to take us through? We have a new series called The Unexpected. And Steve?
It's going to be really unexpected.
That's what it is. Actually, the art not being there was unexpected. And hopefully, it carries us through. But take us through, book,
right,
where we are on this.
Unexpected, I've been sitting here, I've left after the whole panel to listen to everyone else pitch their books and think about what I was going to say. And I was sitting here, I was going to say, you know, it's a team of enemies that just happen to hate each other slightly less than anything else going on in the DC universe. And I was going to say that it's the Dark Tower meets the Expendables. But then I realized I'm wearing this Kurosawa sweatshirt, and it's actually the Dark Tower meets Seven Samurai, even though there's only 4 of them. Because it's all new characters, as we're all saying in the DC universe, and these are all people that have made, like some of, like happens to me, like happens to many people, they've made huge mistakes. They've made mistakes that they think they can never come back from. And only by working together do they get a chance to right those problems in their life. And if people who follow me on social media, at the Steve Orlando, noticed like a month ago, I had posted like, oh, I'm doing research for a new DC Comics project. And it was really like, I thought, not that much of a spoiler. I had like this photography by a blind photographer, Pete Eckert. I had Hammurabi's Code. I had an old potential ancient astronaut sculpture. And I had an ion engine, which everyone thought was a flashlight. And much to my chagrin, people saw the Peter Eckert photo and said, oh, you're doing Neon the Unknown. And I like nearly died because the first member of The Unexpected is Neon the Unknown. Someone who is a blind, basically a blind magician, formerly an artist who in a moment of complete inability to overcome his artistic block, performs this ritual trying to see the fires of inspiration. And he's like a rock star artist, you know, the type of like an Andy Warhol or, you know, if Paul Pope type guy. And in the moment of witnessing the fire of inspiration, he gains his powers, but he loses his sight and his entire entourage is killed. So in helping the unexpected, he feels like he ruined these other people's lives. So now he's going to try to find some people and try to build them up instead of destroying them like he did last time. And he's got a super cool look by the artist of the book, Ryan Sook, who's done an amazing job combining like amazing mod 1960s style with just this totally unique aesthetic for a character who can only create. His powers don't allow him to destroy. And the other members of the team, we have Ascendant, who is a king to a race. He's the ruler of the world, but no one actually knows that his throne exists. He comes from a race of orcs that are like the craziest, like Jack Kirby super science orcs. The only problem is they reigned completely before humans had ever evolved. So imagine in his case, he was like the outlaw prince who was focused on this new animal, humans. So he's kind of like the Jane Goodall of orcs. Except for the fact that in their hubris, his people, after exiling him for fraternizing with humans, actually tried to invent a time machine and erase themselves from history. So he's the last ruler of the world, but no one knows that he even exists, or that his kingdom or that his people ever existed. And of course, he feels resentment for humans because after years of loving them, it's because of us that he's still around and not gone with the rest of his people. And we have Firebrand, which I'm super excited about. Firebrand is our main connection to metal. She's a first responder who was injured during one of the events. Many things blow up in DC Comics, as you might have seen. And she's injured and experimented upon, and to save her life, they implant what's called the conflict engine in the place of her heart. And so now she's someone who dedicated her entire life to saving people, but if she doesn't get in a fight once every 24 hours, her heart will stop and she'll die.
Sounds like marriage.
And to wrap up the team, one of my favorite members, Viking Judge. You know, we're talking about building on the DC universe. If you know me or have seen me talk ever, love the minutiae of the DC universe. Neon the Unknown, former All-Star Squadron member, Ascendant, my sort of ode to that Jack Kirby secret science, big science. Firebrand, obviously, also in the All-Star Squadron, also a character in the 90s. Viking Judge, to me, is the continuation of Viking Prince, Joe Kubert creation, and Viking Commando, which is even more obscure, but was... He was in the army and he carried an axe, and he was Viking Commando. It's in DC Who's Who. So now we have Viking Judge, and Viking Judge was a law person from Viking times who actually committed, performed an execution so grim that it's her greatest shame. And she's connected to her ex, Bright Marshall, that lets her see what other people have done badly. And through that, she gets to share the body of her ancestor who lives in the present day, Agnes Allen. And Agnes Allen is basically everyone I went to college with. So fun employed, living in Williamsburg, doesn't really enjoy responsibility. So it's hard when you have this black and white Law and Order person living in your head. So it's sort of in many ways kind of like if Lena Dunham was inhabited by Brienne of Tarth. And there's natural conflict there, as you might imagine. So what brings these people together is that they're all people who think they've done something unforgivable, and by finding a way to work together, by overcoming their villain, who I mentioned the Dark Tower is basically like the Randall Flagg of the DC universe, someone we've never seen that has been inhabiting different worlds and destroying them, obsessed with seeing the opposite power of Neon the Unknown, the Fires of Destruction, which might also have some other names in the DC universe when things get going. But we're going to bring that to you. Characters that you've never seen before, that probably would be just as happy to be punching each other in the face as everything else that shows up in the book. I can't wait. And Ryan's designs, I'm so sad you can't see them.
I thought we have it.
Truly gorgeous.
Excellent. Okay, thanks a lot, Steve. I was told I have 1 minute left. 1 minute left. I'm going to turn it over to Scott to wrap this up. Okay, one big spoiler in the last minute of the panel. Scott, do it.
Oh my god. Ugh, there's so many spoilers, and Josh already, I feel like I should turn it to Josh.
No.
After Metal, Metal sets up so many, like Flash War, it sets up things in every book in a different way, so it's a lot of fun story, coordinated with other things, but I would say we're going to moneyball all the teams, so you're going to get crazy-ass versions of all of our favorite teams teamed up, so you get Starro, Sinestro, Superman, all kinds of crazy stuff for a minute. For a special story that rolls out of Metal, and they're all going to team up in ways you'd never expect against a new villain, and we're going to roll it out. Basically what I would say is this. You guys made Rebirth such a success. What they could have done, what DC could have done, is just go back and say, we're going to play it safe and just do more of the same books. And the fact that you guys were so supportive of us and what they decided to do, which is such a joy for us, is to say, let's make new things and go forward and take all the good energy and go to new places. That's literally what we're trying to get you guys excited about with these books, because we love them, all the stuff that we just pitched. And I can promise you, spoiler-wise, what's coming with this Justice, all the kind of stuff we're going to do after this, the stories.
Even Josh is playing.
I know.
Even Josh.
We have this plan that goes Metal, and then I can't say what it is right after.
I think I got to cut you
And
off.
the 7 sins of... Okay, all right.
Stop. We're stopping here.
All right.
I want to thank you all for joining us.